Time has gone 5 minutes after 6 o'clock. It's a very good evening to you and welcome to it. This is our special broadcast brought to you courtesy of Government Communication and Information System, the GCIS, together with our sister department, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. My name is Karawa Lance. Glad to be in your company for the next
hour or so, and you and I are going to be learning quite a lot as we always do on
Thursdays, where we bring you subjects or topics that will engage you and topics that will invite you to be part of the show by calling in on our toll-free number, which I will give you later on. Today is no different. We're definitely going to be talking about one of the topics that is going to be highly spoken about for this month as well. Remember, it is August and it's a month of women, and not necessarily that because of that and the subject is highly spoken about, but because it affects more women than it is, according to statistics. And you're probably wondering what exactly are we going to be talking about. I will tell you later. Lina la ka ke karabalance stola na sa ba pedi matebele ke thabela go balo ena mtshelechi mo khasong ya rena yona o itlisetswa ke ba ga Government Communication and Information System, the GCIS, ka mmogo le kgoro ya toka, the Department of Justice, le tšweletšopele ya molaotheo, the Justice and Constitutional Development. Ke tla bana le wena mtshelechi mo nakong e tlang iri e tlang tle be ke boleletsana le wena ka taba tšeo di leng gore di bohlokwa, taba tše e leng gore ka la bone o mongwe le o mongwe re boletšana ka ga tšona. Ke a go thabela le wena, ke thabetše gore le wena o karolo ya kgaso ye ya rena. Mwamukele nawe mlaleli kule nqube yethu letholanga baka Government Communication and Information System, the GCIS, kanye the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Ngicela nawe mlaleli ukuthi ma ufuna ukukhuluma nathi ikhona inombolo ngizokupha yona a bit later, and that number is a toll-free number. Xa bosale fesilo ngeke ukhokhe lutho ngempela, izobe kumahala le number lengizokupha yona, so that you can be in touch with us this evening. You're more than welcome to speak to in any language of your choice this evening as we interact. Well, this evening it is episode 9 of season 2 of LTJ, and this evening we're talking about domestic violence. That's what I would like us to focus on this evening. And let me introduce our guests this evening. Lovely ladies. They kept me smiling for the last half an hour. Cannot stop smiling. That's how lovely these people are. Well, first and foremost, Advocate Praise Kambula. She's the head of promotions of the rights of vulnerable groups unit at the DOJ and CD. Good evening to you.
Evening to the listeners.
There we go. As well as Dr. Zubeida Dango, head of the executive at the National Shelter Movement of South Africa. Good evening to you, Zubeida. Please come closer to your microphone. You see, Zubeida's relaxed. You see, that's what I like. Good evening to you, Zubeida. Thank you so much for coming through. There we go. And we also visited by Veena Naidu. And Veena Naidu, she's a domestic violence survivor, somebody who's going to inspire us and give us all the tools that we need in order to tackle this issue. Thank you so much, Veena, for coming through. I appreciate it.
Good evening, Karabo, and good evening to your listeners.
There we go. It's a book that you've written, Veena, that you gave me, hey?
I was part of a
project of writing, yeah,
of 10 group of 10 women who actually wrote that book.
100%.
And all survivors that wrote that book.
100%. I'm going to be talking about that book later on. In fact, I'm going to read an extract from it that caught my attention as I went through it. So all of that coming up in the next couple of minutes. 9 after 6. All right, contact points for this evening. Telephone and social media. All right, telephone 0800 142 446. It is a toll-free number if you're going to be calling from a landline. Inombolo yethu ungashayela kuyo mawufuna ukukhulumisana nathi, isikhuluma nge-domestic violence namhla 0800 142 446. 0800 142 446. Nomoro ke mphiwa fela ga ile gore mohlomong ka nyaka go bolešana le rena ka polelo ye re bolešanang ka yona tšatšing la legono, yona domestic violence goba go sotliwa ka ngwakong. 0800 142 446. Facebook, easy as well. The Department of Justice and Constitutional Development on Facebook, on Twitter at DOJCD_ZA, at DOJCD_. I always love saying ZA. Maybe let me stick with a ZA. I love it. I just love how the Americans do the whole Z thing, So at DOJCD underscore ZA. All right, let's not waste further time. It's a very, very sensitive subject. It's one that I would like to maybe even ask you as a listener, if you do have kids around you, we might get into sensitive issues that I wouldn't like to expose to children. We don't know. We'll see how it goes. But just for safety's sake, can I ask you to please maybe just get them busy with something? You know, those puzzles that they haven't finished and they've been promising to finish for a long time. Get them to do those puzzles or homework or something like that. All right. Let's talk about domestic violence. It's one that's close to me as well, by the way, growing up as a little child, and I'll give my own testimony at the end, my experiences and how it affected me as well. But let's talk about domestic violence. Maybe just give us an explanation. When we talk about domestic violence, what type of violence is this?
It is a violence that occurs in domestic relationships. Mm-hmm. And when we talk about the domestic relationships, we talk about people who are married, people who were married, people who are in an intimate sexual or romantic relationship, that is dating relationship, and even the perceived intimate romantic and sexual relationship. Our Act recognizes all these types of relationships, because in these days, you know, you have parties who will make an agreement that we're gonna just enjoy each other sexually, but no heart involved in that. So that one, it cannot be classified as an intimate relationship, because it's only about the physical. And it also goes to you know, people who are related by blood, marriage, and other types. But then it also includes, in South Africa, the same-sex relationships. So it's violence then that occurs in those relationships. And it is a violence that goes beyond physical abuse, because people will think that whenever they talk about domestic violence, they are thinking about somebody who has beaten you, physical, you know, violence, but it goes beyond. There's sexual abuse, which is part of domestic violence, and with sexual abuse, it also includes, you know, the sexual slurs that a person will calling you, you know, bad names and all that, and even forcing you sometimes, you know, from practicing out of a pornographic material, and you don't want to do that as a woman, and he forces you to do that. And as we are celebrating the Women's Month, so the victim, we will be considering as a victim as a woman, but we have a legislation then that is gender neutral. And it also goes to, you know, the verbal, the emotional, verbal, and psychological abuse, and that type is clubbed together. And the reason for that is because the verbal abuse may lead to emotional abuse, and emotional abuse may lead to psychological abuse. And people would think that physical abuse is the most dangerous one, but they don't know that emotional abuse could lead to somebody killing herself, and it might make you to lose yourself. If somebody calls you that you are a stupid, one day after another, you believe that, and you end up acting out of that, and then losing yourself. And when you lose your confidence, then, I mean, what is it that you can produce with your hands if you don't have self-confidence? So it's quite damaging as well. So it also deals with economic abuse. You see, with economic abuse, people think that domestic violence has nothing to do with your pocket. It has everything to do with your pocket. So if you don't want your wife, you are forcing your wife to be a housewife. And you have your qualification. Even if you don't have a qualification, if somebody prohibits you from having an income, that is economic abuse. If somebody takes your money and every day you are popping out money to pop petrol for this person, or even to buy certain things that have nothing to do with the household and necessities. So that is economic abuse. Or you have somebody who refuses to pay maintenance. Maintenance, that's economic abuse, and you can actually have recourse in terms of the Domestic Violence Act and apply for a protection order against that person. So it goes on and on. Damage to property as well. You know, I'm having my cell phone, and then because you think that now when I'm talking to my male colleague, I'm talking to a boyfriend or an intimate partner, then you damage that cell phone. That's economic. I mean, that's damage to property, and damage to property is one form of abuse which constitute domestic violence. So we are a country that's got quite a wide definition of domestic violence. In fact, it is open-ended.
Okay. Now, as the nation commemorates Women's Month, we would like to focus on these issues that are affecting women daily. And to some people, domestic violence has been viewed as a private matter or a personal matter, but this is absolutely a criminal offense which is punishable by law. And we're going to explore that coming up, so stay tuned. Government, through various departments, have introduced and implemented various pieces of legislation and support programs to help curb domestic violence. We're going to be talking about that as well. 0800 142 446 kwa mogele lwena mthile chibo khasong ya lona ga ile gore lwena o fetša go bulela sealemoya sa gago re boletšana ka domestic violence. Re na le baeti ba rena bošegong bja legono o bona ke Advocate Praise Kambula le Dr. Zubeida Dengo, le Ms. Vina Naidu in the studio. They'll be talking to us about this issue of domestic violence. 0800 142 446. That is a toll-free number if you're going to be calling from a landline, by the way. If you're calling from your cell phone, do the initial calling. We're not going to waste time. In 15 seconds, we'll have taken your details down, your name and your telephone number, and we'll call you back and save you costs in that regard. Okay, let's move on. People that can be a victim of domestic violence. Maybe let me shift my focus and take it to Vina. Vina, you are a domestic violence survivor. Maybe before you even tap into who can, maybe tell us a little bit, just share with us your story there, Vina, if you don't mind.
Okay, thank you, Karabo, for the opportunity to talk to the listeners. I had a beautiful love relationship with my husband, and it was a 24-year relationship. It went on for 24 years, but 8 years prior to that, I had found a message from a cousin of his where it didn't sound like a kosher message. With the result, I explored that and subsequently found out that they were lovers and whatever. When I started asking him about it, he then got violent and he used to abuse me endlessly. And with the result, coming from an Indian background, we sort of limited in that we are not allowed to really leave our relationships. We are told that, you know what, once you get married, you stay in that relationship. So that's the kind of limitations we had. And, otherwise you're a disgrace to the family and that kind of thing. So with the result, I stayed. I took the abuse, but as Praise was talking about the different types of violence, I suffered the financial violence where there was months he took my salary, my entire salary, and he'd say, I'm going to use it, but I'll give it to you back. Never came back, and there was months I would have to find other monies to go and pay my accounts, that kind of thing. The physical abuse, the mental abuse. The physical abuse was, sporadic. So, it would just depend on the situation. If he comes back in a bad mood, that's the day I'm getting a beating. If I just do something that he thinks was not right, like maybe go for dinner with my brother, he would beat me up when I came back, that kind of thing. So it was, odd, sporadic incidents, but at the same time, the emotional abuse. What he then started doing, he started turning my kids against me. Because I said it's a cousin of his, he then said, to the kids, you know what, how can this be? He started telling everybody, oh, you know what, this woman must be mentally unstable. She needs to go to Sterkfontein, you know, that kind of thing. And with the result, I then, you know, I started losing my self-confidence. My self-esteem was dropping. And I found that, you know, I couldn't, I had been a community worker all the years, from the time I was, from the age of 20. And with the result, I couldn't even face my community organizations because he was going around telling everybody I was having affairs, that I was bad to the kids, and that kind of thing, which wasn't true, you know. And at the end of the day, one day it just all came to an end where he beat me up, and I said, this is it. I'm going now to the police station, I'm going to the courts, and I did that, and I went to go and get a protection order. But that's where I came upon my stumbling blocks, you know. I went to try and get the protection order. They gave me the interim protection order. The police served it on him, and that's the day he said to me, I must F out of his house. I'm sorry to say this to the listeners, but that's what the reality of what happened. And I then had to, I had no money. I had everything that was in our house was ours. I never ever one day said it was mine, but although I purchased a lot of it, you know, I had to leave my home with just my mom's bed, and that was it, you know. And I walked, and I had to try and build a life for myself. My kids wouldn't come with me because by then he had poisoned them so much against me, to say that, you know what, this is, she doesn't care about this family. She doesn't care about breaking this family up. You understand? And when it came to the crunch, I said to them, listen guys, I want you to come with, but if you don't want to come with, I cannot stay with this monster any longer. He beat me up, and this is the day it ends. And I took that firm stand, and I said, this is the day it ends, and it ended there. Sorry, it didn't end there, because I still got messages after that, which, you know, it took me a while to get rid of him. But eventually I had to threaten him to get rid of him.
Yeah.
You know.
22 minutes after 6 o'clock, and there you had it. This is Veena Naidu, who's been telling you her story there. And Veena, maybe one question to you that links up to the question that I've asked before. You were working for yourself, right? So in other words, you were employed, and so because a lot of people think abuse is often delivered on those who are not exactly.
Yeah.
So what can you say? Is it can it be to employed people as well, educated
people?
You
know, as I was actually talking to the director, Zubaida, now, I was just telling her, I said, you know, it can be the most intelligent person, you know the right from the wrong. You know what you can accept and what you should accept. But yet, you will accept this when someone tells you you are less than a human being, you know. So you accept it. And you accept it only because your self-esteem is gone so low. So whether you're employed, whether you got a degree, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Because it's that feeling for that person.
Yeah.
Right up till the day I left in 2010, I was in love with my husband. I loved him to bits. Yeah. You know, there was nothing. He was my weakness, so to speak, because there was nothing that could actually come between us. So even though for 6 years I had known that he was involved with this woman, you know what? I put my blinkers on. I went to work every day. I came home. I cooked. I took care of our family. But at the end of the day, it was all because I was in denial. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to know that, you know what, this is what the kind of person he was.
And probably self-blame as well.
Correct. What did I do wrong? You know, what did I do to drive him away? You know, that kind of, you're questioning yourself all the time.
Zubaida, you want to jump in there quickly?
Yeah, sure. What I want to just allude to as Veena was talking is that the issue of women blaming and minimizing the abuse comes up. You know, the issue when she talked about the self-denial. She went to work every day and she came back, almost didn't want to know that the abuse exists.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that often what we forget when we think of domestic violence is that there is a lot of power and control over the victim, as well as the issue of what we call patriarchy. So I'm in charge, the man is in charge of the household, and everything he says will be done. So the wife or his intimate partner has actually no say. So it's not a relationship, it's not a partnership where they can talk to each other. It's a relationship, it's more, it's not democratic at all.
Yeah.
And this is a fundamental problem in these relationships. One thing I also wanted to point out is that when it comes to economic abuse, you know, today in South Africa, a lot of women are highly educated and many of them earn more than their partners. And this itself becomes a source of violence against women.
Oh, yeah.
Very much so. To the extent that even pets, we had a situation once where the woman loved her cat so much, and the husband took the cat and microwaved the cat.
Wow.
I mean, it's horrendous. But this is, you know, an example of what has happened. We also had a situation where a woman was divorced from her husband, but he was still controlling her, almost remote controlling her. And what he used to do in the middle of the night, he made a key to her house. He used to go into her house and rape her, even after they were divorced.
Let's hold it there. We'll come back to those. 0800 142 446, 0800 142 446. Releleche Shaluklino would like to hear from you. Let's go to Margaret from Bloemfontein. Let's open the lines quickly. Margaret in Bloemfontein. Hi, Margaret Legai. Rete ngimewaka. Putswa ho ere. Amen. Okay. Linyalane lintata ke. Lena le 13 years le dula mo. Ngwana wa lona o na le mohem kae? Okay. And then o motona wa sebetsang o dula le lona? Okay. Yena o na le motse kae? 29. Okay. A re utlwe mme wa ka gore tla araba ka gore mpotso ya gago, ne? Okay. All right. Ke la wa ke la wa gore lwana o nkile nako gore le tse mogala ke. All right. Okay. Bongekile from Lady Smith. Bongekile? Kunjani sisami? Ngiyaphila man, ngicela ukhulume nami. Okay. All right, Sisbogi, thank you so much. Sizabona siphendula kanjani umbuzo wakho ne? Okay, masiye kumhlaba KZN. Let's take Mhlaba as being the last one for this round. Mhlaba, KZN. Kunjani baba? Siyaphila man. Umbuzo wakho uthini? When this order was saved, Guwe, Mhlaba, were you invited or did you go to court? Because I understand there's a. Just hold on, Mhlaba. Okay, I want to clear something here quickly. I don't want to release. When an order is served for somebody, they get an invitation to come and plead their case in court, do they?
Yeah, you are given a certain number of days where you are then given an opportunity to consider the allegations of the complainant, and then you go to court to respond to those allegations.
Okay, Baba Mhlaba, bakubize enkantolo waba ukhulume nabo bakutshela ukuthi why bakupha le order. Okay, but let's take it. Okay, Bob Mhlaba, we'll see how we can deal with one. There's just a lot of questions that I would like to ask around this one. If we have to call you back, if mhlawumbe ufanele ukuthi sikufonele sizakufonela futhi baba ne uyiphathe kwifoni yakho. Okay, all right. Thanks, Bob Mhlaba. Okay, we'll see how we can deal with this one. I can tell you now, in my 3 years of broadcasting this show, I've never had a question that puts me on the corner and I don't know what to say and how to respond. I can tell you right now. All right, let's go to Margaret. Margaret's case, quite a
Very interesting.
yeah. It's going to be quite an emotional one, guys, on the other side of the studio. So brace yourselves, eh, Tammy? Right. So Margaret called in. Margaret is unemployed. Okay, and she was married to the husband, but this actually not married. I beg your pardon. Margaret is not married to this guy, but they're living together.
As husband and wife.
Do you want to
Yes.
call it that?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you've got an explanation why you termed it that. I can see your eyes are saying, I know why I'm saying husband and wife.
Yeah.
Let me continue by saying for 13 years being together.
That's
Is that the
husband
reason
and
why?
wife.
I
Yes.
thought you were gonna, that's exactly what I thought you were going to say. Because they've been
Yes.
living together for so long, they
Yeah.
live together as husband and wife. Okay,
Mm.
for how long can you live with a person that it constitutes that we could say you are husband and wife now? Is it 6 months? Is it a year?
No, there is now law that can sort of legalize that relationship and say that you are, because of the period that we have spent together as husband and wife, then you are husband and wife. But then in South Africa, we recognize the relationship of partners who are living together as husband and wife, as a domestic relationship.
A domestic relationship in terms of, we cannot say in community or property, we cannot say out of community property. What do we say?
That's the danger about it.
Okay, that's where the
That's
danger
the danger
comes.
about it, yes.
Okay, all
Is
right.
that it's not a paper relationship, but of course our law recognizes it as a domestic relationship, meaning that then it's one of the remember I talked about the intimate, the
Right.
sexual, and
So this is- yeah.
yeah, it's one of them.
All right. So now, it being a domestic relationship, what Margaret is complaining about constitutes a domestic violence or
Violence,
various
yes.
sorts of it. Because Margaret is claiming he's not married to this guy. He's been living with him for 13 years, for over 13 years. I beg your pardon if I'm not mistaken. They've got a 13-year-old together, and they've got a 29-year-old, which is not the guy's son. But the son is taking care of the family. When I say family, I mean the 13-year-old, Margaret, and
And the boyfriend.
and the gentleman.
The boyfriend.
Right? The boyfriend. No, you want to use words. No, let's go there. And the boyfriend, okay? But now, he does not want to provide for the family.
That's economic abuse.
What can Margaret do? I don't even want to go. As long as you've said that, I'm not even going to go and explain all the other things that she's explained, because already tells me we got a problem.
Okay.
What can she do?
What I can say to Margaret, simple. Go to magistrate office and apply for a protection order and indicate there in the application form that he's not contributing a cent, despite the fact that he wants to eat and wants the roof over his head, and that constitutes economic abuse. And she can also, I think that you're gonna give them the number of our office,
yeah,
so that
absolutely.
if she is not getting any assistance, but I doubt that she won't, because economic abuse is a very clear case of economic abuse, so she should not even worry about it.
When it comes to maintenance, does she qualify to even go and lodge a maintenance
Against him,
against him? Yes.
that
I'll
one,
tell you why.
I
Because
think
of the
that
13-year-old.
the 13-year-old, yes, for the child, of course, for the child. She can actually go to the maintenance court and apply for a maintenance order. And she can actually, whilst applying for the protection order, have the magistrate issuing an order for the father to contribute a certain amount of money towards the maintenance of the child and towards the payment of the household necessities, and the magistrate will then probably give her a certain a period of time where she could go to the maintenance court to apply for the maintenance for the maintenance order. And then as soon as she gets the maintenance order, usually that term, I'm going to call it the term of the maintenance of the protection order, will collapse. That is the one that says that you contribute a certain amount of money towards the 13-year-old son and all that. And I also want her to know that even the 13-year-old, in terms of the Domestic Violence Act, can actually go and apply for a protection order against daddy, unassisted.
Kuzova nabantu bayithumo sendlini bafana.
He
That's
can
how serious
actually
it
go.
is.
He can actually go. You don't have to be an adult to apply for a protection order. This act recognizes that children, minors, can have a right to go to court and apply for a protection order, assisted or unassisted.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about that, because I would like to empower the children as well to know their rights as far as this is concerned. Bongekilo naye came in there, and she's got a protection order. She wants to find out how the protection order works, because she's quite confused. Her sister obtained one against the boyfriend. Boyfriend breached, if I can call it that, breached the protection and did the ultimate, that which we all scared of, and eventually killed the sister.
Intimate femicide in South Africa is really a challenge. We really needed to talk about this, and there are many ways of stopping it. And it's your responsibility as a woman to ensure that you don't die. But then to respond to this situation is to say that probably during the proceedings, because I don't see them on the charge sheet leaving out the violation of the protection order, because it will definitely serve as an aggravating factor during the sentencing. And I think that the conviction there was on murder, and it could not probably have been on violation of protection order, because that would probably lead to the duplication of charges. You know, it's something legal. But then she should know that it's a pity that I don't know the proceedings, the court record. I haven't gone through it, but I can be sure to say that the violation of protection order was not taken out, but it's only just that the sentence for the violation of protection order does not exceed 5 years. All right, and then with murder it can go over that. So that is why then the focus was more on murder, but not leaving out the violation of protection order in terms of the sentencing and all that, just to show that this was not happening for the first time. There's a history of violence between the deceased and the accused, and I don't see prosecution leaving that out because it's quite a critical piece of evidence.
Bongekile, what I would like to mhlawumbe ngukutshela sisami mhlawumbe hambe enkantolo and find out exactly kwenzekeni with the breaching of the protection order. Was it one of the charges that are there, even though mhlawumbe bazange bakhulume ngayo? But just go find out information, and then at the end of the show I'll give numbers and call us back with that information back to say what was there and so forth, and we can see how we can assist you going further. All right, we had Mhlaba as well. Now, this is the one that I'm talking about, where I'm saying, you know, the first time in 3 years doing this show, I kind of get stuck, you know, because Baba Mhlaba mentioned two things. Okay, he's mentioned that the order is given. It's been given to you.
He's the one who has
He's the one who's been served. But now, Uti Inkinga is that he believes Uti certain things were not taken into consideration. He believes that if this was taken to customary assessment, customary law, it was going to take another turn. It wouldn't have gotten to this far. But my problem is this. The order is out anyway. What's your take on it? And ladies, please jump in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but I want to say to Kutatu Mhlaba that our constitution recognizes customary law. It also recognizes what it calls the Dutch law, but then we are calling it the statutory law. And the victim has got a choice, or probably the wife in this instance. I'm not sure whether it's a wife or a partner. Has got a choice to say that do I take the route of customary law, or do I take the route of the statutory law, which is domestic violence? And she chose the statutory law. And if he then is not satisfied with the outcome of the case, the Domestic Violence Act allows him to appeal against that decision. He can do that. But then I can see here that his frustration is that he was prohibited entry into the shared residence, which is something that the Act allows. The Act allows that you don't have to run to a shelter as a victim. You don't have to leave the shared residence with the respondent. You can actually have the protection order. Evicting him. I'm going to use the word evict because people are familiar with that. You can evict the person who's abusing you and must go out. And when he is out, he can also be ordered to continue to pay the bond, the groceries, and all that stuff, despite the fact that he's living elsewhere. And all that he needs to do is to live with your personal belongings. You don't take away the TV. You don't take away everything else that everybody enjoys at home. You take your clothes and your toothbrush and all that, everything that has to do with you, and you get out. So I think that is what Tatu Mhlaba experienced here. But what I can say to him is that he has a right to appeal if he feels that there were certain issues that were not considered during the proceedings.
Bamhlaba, two things, okay? I order sebayikhipile baba. ungabuhambe manje uwenze something ezofaka enkingeni. Don't go and do something that's going to get you into trouble, saying ukuthi mhlambe you're not happy with the fact that the order's out in this way. Like you've mentioned, the Dutch law, I'm going to use the very same words that he's used. The order is out, Baba. When what you need to do if you're not happy, like umama says, manje, ngicela uhambe uyelapha enkantolo, and then go and seek an appeal to this and take it from there. Do it right if you feel ukuthi mhlambe certain issues are not dealt with in the best way that they should have. Hamba niyenze appeal, but don't go and act against the order, saying ukuthi mhlambe you're not recognizing the Dutch law because you feel ukuthi the customary law would have dealt with it differently. Don't do that. Bazokubopha baba. Bazokubopha, you will get arrested.
Uzawubanjwa.
And
enye into angayenza angayo applyela that it's called the variation of the order if he has reconciled with the partner. So and have that term of the eviction, that is the prohibition from entry into the common residence, taken out. But that will be taken out only if the partner agrees.
Yeah. So
reconcile.
Reconciliation is one of but reconciliation comes with responsibilities as well. Reconciliation, yeah. Let me not go there. Let me give other people a chance. I'm not the expert, because mina ngakhuluma phela. Zikazi from Zibonele. Zikazi. Kunjani sis? Ndiyaphila Khonto. What's your question? Okay. Unayo inamba yakhe? Okay, ama-producers wethu, just hold the line. Ungayibeki phansi ne? Ngizokuthumela kubo ubaphe le number yakhe bazamfonela ne? Okay, all right. Patco's not from Northwest, I can tell you right now. Is this Patco from the Eastern Cape, Takalani? Ndate Patco ba ngwetoro tswa Northwest bona ke kopa unkele ka ba fla machine o tle ka mona o tlo discipline mfane ba reng ke time o ka re ha concentrate as asila ka jeno o ngwetoro tswa Northwest we utlwile he time ntakona tswa Eastern Cape bona Takalani ha re utlwa he ndate Now the show has started. Ndiyabulela Tapatko for calling in. Appreciate it. Zandile from Jozi. Zandi? Shap kunjani sizam? Okay. Yes. So what takes precedence between customary and civil law? Okay. Okay. All right. It's a very interesting one, this one, Zandile, because we've spoken about it, and I'll see if I can remember some of the elements that we brought into this factor. But thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it. You can put down. You can listen on the radio. It's fine. All right. Let's chat to Patrick. Patrick from Vugani FM. This is the guy that makes sure that Vugani FM's oil is always there.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
He's doing an absolutely amazing job at Vugani. You should get a raise. Tell him I said that. Patrick. Wasn't that? Haluk. Akopo ubuele nandat. Please.
Oh, siyabulisa that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. This is Patrick from Vugani FM. 7 before 7, 0800 142 446. We're still taking one or two callers. If you feel like calling in, or if you've got a question or comment, you're more than welcome to do that. That's 0800 142 446 on Facebook, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, Twitter, DOJCD_ZA. All right, let's go to the questions that we've received so far. We had Partco. Partco wants to find out, there's many people that have got a difficulty of coming out to tell about their sad story. Yes, because of the whole stigma. And maybe let me send this one to you, Avina. Just to encourage them. How did you find courage to actually eventually go out and say, enough is enough?
It was very difficult. It was very difficult coming from a very traditional background, a very traditional marriage. So it was very difficult in the sense that there's all these limitations in that people, you worry about what is society going to say, what is your aunts, great aunts, and all of them, what are they going to say?
Too.
Your the community, your neighbor next door, what is she going to think about you? What is he going to think about you? So there are all those limitations, but at the end of the day, you need to find that inner courage. And you know what? There's times where there was just a time where you come and you say, you know what? Enough is enough. I've had enough. I can't do this any longer. And you find that inner strength. I promise you, Karabo, you find that inner strength. And you go out and that's when you say, you know what? I now need to take care of myself. I need to find that. And now, there was a time I I did things for everybody else but myself. I took care of everybody else but myself. And I had to find that inner courage and say, you know what? Irrespective of what is going to happen now, I know I need to be safe. I need to make myself safe. And the only way I need to do that is get out of this toxic relationship.
Exactly.
And that toxic relationship needs to be in the past now.
Right.
So you know what? And I did it. I'm very proud to say that I found that inner courage. But at the same time, I had a very, very good organization in the area, right in the area, and that was NISA. NISA, if you ask Dr. Dango, I had spoken at a function the day before, and the very next morning, I spoke on a different topic, but it was a Women's Day function as well. And the very next morning, I was sitting in our office, and I said, Zubaira, this is what is happening to me, And, they took me in hand. They gave me, the shelter was there. The shelter was there. I stayed for 16 weeks in the shelter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe,
no children. My children weren't there.
Maybe Zubaira just come in there in terms of some of the assistance that you give, whichever way that you guys offer assistance to victims of domestic violence.
I just want to go back a little. I think that it's important that if anybody's in an abusive relationship, whether it's emotional, physical, or anything, one, to try and get counseling. And if there are not services in your area, you can even get telephonic counseling all over South Africa. Okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is that it's important if you can reach out to an organization, because most of these organizations understand these issues very well and will be able to support the survivor or the victim through these processes. So, for example, what we do is when a woman comes in and she says she's abused, depending on what she wants, if she wants counseling, we'll offer that. But if her life is threatened, and many women's lives are threatened, and we know in South Africa that every day 3 women are killed, and this is a fact. 3 women are killed in the country as a result of intimate partner violence.
Every day.
Every day. So we want to prevent women's disempowerment and death at that level. So what we do is we offer sheltering as an alternative. If a woman is terribly afraid and is living in fear all the time, then we would offer her sheltering where she can stay, depending, different shelters have different periods, but you could stay between 6 and 12 months. And during that time, she would get counseling. If she needs a protection order, we would help her with that. If she needs to go and report the case, we would help. We would also take in her children.
Wow.
And we would provide for them. And
yes, they do that.
We do this, and we also bring in community assistance. So, for example, if they do Zumba or anything, to also change the track of thinking, because women who've come from these relationships need respite. They need to be able to stop and say what it is that I need. Like Vina said, they don't focus on themselves. They also don't focus on their children. So it's also a time for them to eventually bond with their children.
Okay. Seeing that we're running out of time, I think the issue of roadshows, Vina, if you can touch on that. Do you speak on roadshows? Have you got any planned?
We have an event,
not really, but we actually got an event next week where I will be speaking at that show.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Looking forward to that. You'll give us the dates and all of that stuff.
Yes.
Okay, we'll do that very quickly. Jeez, time flies, man. Can we steal another hour from? No.
And we need to talk about intimate femicide
Let me
and the safety planning.
Oh my goodness! Can we do that in 5? Okay, let's do quickly. Zandi,
next time. Next time.
Oh, next time.
Yeah. Next time,
right.
we need to come back.
Zandi, they called in. She wants to find out the customary.
Touch the iceberg.
Is it?
No.
There's such a lot to talk about. Yes. We had a caller, Zandile. She wants to find out about the customary versus the civil law the issue of having gotten married on a customary law platform, but say the marriage was not registered with the Department of Home Affairs, and maybe things not working out, and people part ways. What takes precedence in terms of the two, the customary and the civil law?
She's still married. Unless the marriage is registered. But now in this case, she says that the marriage is not registered. I think that's a big issue.
The customary
marriage is not registered. That's a big issue.
That's a big issue for her.
But she can still have it registered if she wants to continue. She can still have it registered.
But it doesn't sound like they together anymore. They've parted ways.
Yes.
Okay, so what is actually her concern?
She wants to find out which one takes precedence, because then mhlawumbe she wants to go and do things about maintenance and spousal maintenance and all of that stuff.
There's a right to equality before the law in South Africa. It's a constitutional right. And every marriage is recognized in the same manner with the other one. That is why in South Africa now the customary marriages are dissolved through a divorce in the same manner as the civil marriage.
Oh, is it?
Only if it is registered. And the issue of registration, I thought that probably she's asking because she's like looking at him, you are my husband and all that, and why are you getting married, and that kind of stuff. So that probably we should have asked and interrogated her further in terms of what she
We've got
really
the details, we'll definitely call her back.
Okay.
Let me dedicate the next 3 minutes to the children. The children, how can they get help? If they're experiencing domestic violence, maybe they want to help the mother, maybe they want to help themselves. How do we bring the children in as far as help is concerned in this regard?
Okay. The first thing that I can say is that, as I said initially or earlier on, that a child in South Africa, but the Act says that if you're a minor, and we know that the age of a minor is below the age of 21, so you can actually go to the magistrate office and apply for a protection order against whoever who is abusing you. And that if it is your father, it is because the Domestic Violence Act recognizes the fact that the abuse could be by your parent or your guardian. So that is why, so that is why it says that a child could actually go there. And there's no age limit. So if you can ask me whether a 7-year-old can actually go to court and say that mommy is beating me, yes, we will take that case.
Or mommy is beating daddy, or daddy is beating mommy
and
as well.
In the case of mommy is beating daddy, then she is then a secondary victim.
Right.
And if she is a secondary victim, then the application that she will be making, she has to state as to how it is affecting her, which is then will need some kind of assistance in that area. But
this assistance that we're talking about, is it a legal representation or what type of assistance?
She does not need to have a legal representation. Our courts are there to assist her with the completion of the application and all that can be done.
Awesome. All right. I think the kids have... You want to jump in, Lina?
Yes, I also, just talking about children, there's a lot of confusion when there's domestic violence in the house. If I just take my children now, they were confused when we went to court. The protection order, the father said they must come in as witnesses. They didn't want to see their father locked up. What happened then? They lied in court. They lied and said there was no violence.
Yes.
You understand? So it was it's very
Mm.
confusing for the children as well. And as much as we as parents we say, okay, don't fight in front of the children. Yes, we know we mustn't fight in front of the children, but somehow or the other we do. We really do, and we mess up our children. In that sense. So that's another thing I wanted to touch on.
Okay. In the area of the secondary victim, the Act defines the complainant to include a child who is in the care of the direct victim. The direct victim is the one who is directly affected by the abuse, but the definition of complainant is so broad as to accommodate the secondary victim, who is a child, if that child is in the care of the one who is being abused at the time. For instance, Vina's children could have been the complainants that is going to court and say that my daddy is abusing my mom and this is making me not to perform well at school, so I'm applying for a protection order against him. She can do that as a child.
There we go. Looks like we're not going to be able to take some of those Facebook questions for now, and apologies for that. We really, really apologize. It was quite an intensive deliberation that we had this evening. Apologies to all the Facebook people that have sent in Facebook messages. I connected, but I could not see any from my side as well, so I assume there were none. So apologies to those, and those who tried to call in as well. I can see Motlatupa. For the first time, Motlatupa, you were unable to come in. Apologies for that, as well as Lebohang from Takalani FM. Apologies for that as well. Just in closing, maybe let's do contact details. You want to take a pen and paper quickly as a listener. Take a pen and paper quickly, or get that phone out and open your phone book.
And our event on the 22nd
And the event on the 22nd, let's talk about that.
Our minister will be visiting a shelter and talking directly with the survivors.
Right.
And in this instance, he's not going there to tell them what he's doing. He is going there to listen from the survivors as to how we could change the court system. And this is a partnership that we have with the national movement of shelters, the one that Dr. Zenda Denga is actually leading. So we're gonna be there on the 22nd, but she'll be there probably. I'm not sure as to whether it's gonna be here in Johannesburg.
Right.
But then we are not. Unfortunately, it's not open to everyone. Because of the sensitivity of the issues that will be dealt with. But we just want people to know that
these things are happening.
The Minister of Justice and Correctional Services is very serious about these issues and wants to resolve them.
Advocate Michael Masuta, big ups to you. You're doing an absolutely amazing job. In closing, contact details quickly. Zoobs, let's start with, did you hear what I said? I said Zoobs.
Yes.
That's awesome. Zubaida, let's start with your contact details if people want to get a hold of you.
Yes, our office number 011-854-5804. That would be the number to contact us. And if you need any help or want any telephonic advice regarding domestic violence, please feel free to call.
And then yours?
Oh,
Or should I give it?
Yes, I thought that he would.
I'll give it. It's okay. I don't want you to feel left out. And Veen, I don't want you to feel left out as well. I wouldn't. I'll tell you why. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't want people calling you directly.
Yes, yeah.
I wouldn't want people to call you directly. So, if you don't mind.
I don't have a problem with it though.
Right, 100%.
And I just
But
like to say
through Nisa,
that
maybe.
through Nisa.
Vina's paying it forward. She's a board member of NISA. So having resolved her issues,
And
she's
NISA is about
actually become an
shelters,
activist
Right.
herself.
Okay, 100%.
We
Okay.
need to have a separate show just
Wait.
about
That's for sure.
shelters.
Mbajelil, abafuna ukungibambela.
Shelters.
All right. The contact details, going further, I beg your pardon, this flu is still with me. You might want to call the Chief Directorate for Promotion of Rights of Vulnerable Groups. That's Advocate J.V. Mbamali, and 012-315-1458. Let me repeat that number again. It's 012-315-1458. Email address, it's vmbamali. I'm going to say it as it is. It's actually V Mbamali, but let's go VM Bamali. It's easier that way at justice.gov.za. All right, ladies, thank you so much for coming through. Zubaida, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Vina, thank you so much as well for coming through. I really appreciate it.
And thank you to your listeners.
Praise, thank you so much. Being
Thank you
passionate
so
about,
much.
always passionate about subjects that are affecting women. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Thanks to the technical team. I'm not going to mention your names. We're running out of time. The grades. All right. Thank you to everybody. Thanks to all community radio stations that have partnered with us this evening. From myself, Karabalans, let's meet again next week, Thursday. Ciao for now.